Archers, attack! Keep firing! Let none escape! Another down! Do not relent!
Straight out of the fire, right into the pan, or something. I'm Slidewhistle.
I am Immunization, and I'm not wearing pants today.
I'm Aaron, Fire Mage Extraordinaire and Horde Punching Bag, and I am wearing pants, but they're pajama pants, so it's kind of the mid-ground.
Should I take off my shirt or something? Should I be shirtless for this one?
Up to you.
I'm not doing it. We got a lot of WoW shit, surprisingly, out of nowhere, which is great.
Yeah, we were like, oh, what are we going to talk about this week? And then I just perused Wowhead for a bit, and there was actually a lot of, data mined and, discovered cutscenes that we'll talk about for 9.1, so going to be quite a bit of spoiler content this episode, I assume.
And when he says discovered, he means, I don't know how they got these things. I swear they stole them off of Denuzer's laptop, because there are voice lines that aren't in there, there are a lot of animations that aren't in there. They all have a thin red X to be no, don't look at it.
I love that flimsy little X. It just means listen, it's not finished. The audio's not in. That's why the flapping of the wings is so aggressive in the Valkyrie.
No, right? During that one Hell Yeah cutscene, that's all you can hear. And then one of the Valkyrie just straight up isn't voice acted. I assume they're gonna throw that in too, but we'll get more to that more later.
I completely forgot that I pre-ordered the World of Warcraft Folk and Fairy Tales of Azeroth book by Steve Denuser and a bunch of other people. It's 9 or 10 co-authors. And I started to read it before I took my long ass nap today. It's fucking good.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of heat thrown its way.
Good heat. And it's interesting. And it's some of the illustrations are really cool in it too. What have you read so far, Slide?
So I just read the first one before bed, because it's I say before bed, but literally it was 3 p.m.
Okay,
well, before your afternoon nap time, bedtime.
This does not take away from the quality of the book. Is it big? Because I imagine it being a big picture book.
It is big. It's not quite a picture book, but it is a big chunky book. So it's supposed to be one of those old timey fairy tale books. So it's a big chunky book. You could hit somebody with this and it would cause damage if you really wanted to.
Yeah. So the concept of it in general is that it is a collection of the folklore and fairy tales that are passed down within all of the different respective races, right?
Yeah, and part of it too, which I thought was interesting, what a Steve Denuser move, is he's some of these stories are canon, but some of these stories are tall tales passed down from the eons. And I'm come on, which ones are which? You gotta tell me.
I mean, it makes sense though. Inherently, it's fairy tales. We wouldn't consider human fairy tales to be true lore, right?
Yeah, it's Grimsbow, the garbage man, coming to town. The everyone's favorite American folklore.
They had to do that in case some author out there was Grimzam, the 9-foot-tall gnome. And then, they didn't put out a thing, so Denuser's we gotta put a huge gnome in there. Greg fucked us, and now we gotta add him into Shadowlands 9.2.
Christy Golden really went for it. She goes, Christy Goldine, the mythical goddess of Azeroth. And it's how'd she get away with that one?
Listen, it's just a tall tale.
She judges the quality of others and finds that Aaron's Twitter presence is not good enough for a BlizzCon ticket. No, the Ardenweald, see? BlizzCon. She changed it up.
But, so the first one I read, it was about the Earth Mother. The Tornado was for the Earth Mother. And I was holy shit, is this a tall tale or canon? Or is the Earth Mother a titan? I don't fucking know.
What is religion besides tall tales, right?
Is the Earth... Okay, so, for real, is the Earth Mother just a fun name for the Naru, the light is? Or do we know is this a real thing that they attach the name to?
So, I don't think we know, and this version feels like a tall tale version that may have some roots in truth. She's almost a humanoid person. There's an illustration of what the Earth Mother quote unquote looks like. Again, I don't know how true this is, right?
Yeah, and she basically looks like this giant humanoid woman. So that's interesting that if that is what is true to Tauran mythology, that the Earth Mother would be humanoid. I don't know. That's kind of odd to me.
Yeah,
Oh
she's like,
yeah, I'm looking at her now. She's just sort of like a mossy tree lady who's holding a light. Which, by the way, I got to by going to the WoW wiki. If you just search up Earth Mother, Therazane's big, bulbous, beautiful self shows
yeah.
up, and I'm like, soon, girl.
But so the story is basically just like she was on Azeroth before Azeroth had like day or night, basically, or no, it was all night. And so that she just kind of walked around and she like made the mountains and she made the rivers and the valleys, and it honestly sounded very Titan-esque, because the Titans go to planets and they make the planets how they want them to be, and they create life, and she's creating life. So it sounds like it could just be like a story about A&R, but like different, you know what I mean, like interpreted as like a different creature.
That's what I was exactly going to say. I was like, when I saw this and I heard you telling me about it, I haven't read it yet, which I need to do still, but it sounded kind of to me like maybe this was the Tauren interpretation of A&R.
It also seems like they're adopting different elements, because I'm looking on the wiki here, and it says that her eyes are the sun and the moon. And we already know the moon is a different celestial being that's a loon. So, yeah, it's their explanation for multiple people. Maybe, like, the creation aspect was A&R, but the overseeing aspect is how they explain a loon.
Yeah, we kind of knew this already, though. I feel like it had already been established that the right and left eyes of the Earth Mother, according to the Tauren, were Musha and Anshe, I think. Is that how you pronounce them? They're like basically the sun and the moon.
Yeah, and that's where I was gonna say, like, that's where the surf is like a mix, because like she makes the sun and the moon, and they're like warriors, her warrior children that are like play fighting. But then like she's afraid of the old god corruption, which again, Titan feels like a very Titan thing. And to save them from Titans, she's like, I gotta go to sleep, guys. I'm so fucking tired. But if I go to sleep, the old gods are gonna corrupt shit. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take my 2 kids and I'm gonna stick them in my eyeballs. That way I can watch them forever. And I will sleep with one eye open to watch Anshi, and then I'll close my eye and then open the other one to watch Musha. And I'm like, okay, this is getting fucking weird. This is like Tall Tale, like esque.
So my question is, which one of these eyes, or maybe both, maybe they alternate, which one of these eyes is keeping an eye out for Selena?
Shut up.
Okay,
It's probably Anshi.
It probably is. This is neither here nor there. Apparently, the wild hammer dwarves also worship the Earth Mother, but I've never heard them ever talk about it.
To be fair, I can't tell you much of what the Wild Hammer clan has said,
Yeah,
other than
I only know
Griffin."
2 of them. There's Falstad, and then there's like not Falstad, who stood in while Falstad was Red Shirt Guide.
I was gonna say, like, and then is the other one the one that's just like on the really old load screen?
Honestly, that might be Falstead.
That's probably him. I just see a wild hammer dwarf that's a man, and I said, that's Falstad, right? Like, it could be like a black guy with like a completely different haircut, and I'm like, that's him, right?
But it basically just ends with her realizing, because then the Tauren come into play, and they're created. They just spring up, and she's like, I love them, and then but then they get corrupted. She's like, oh god, everything can be corrupted. So she's like, here's what I'll do, and she pulls Achi and Musha out of her fucking eyes. It's like, I'm blind. And then I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And now she can't see her kids. And now she's fucking sad. And to save the world from corruption, she like goes and stands out in the middle of a field and becomes a giant tree, and she gives her life to like stand guard over everything. And that was very unclear. And I'm like, I wonder if this like exists somewhere out in the world that you can go see.
So is she also a world tree then?
It's maybe, like I said, like I don't know if the Tauren have like some big tree that they worship, but that'd be ironic if they did, and then we didn't burn that down, right? Like, so far I love it. It's really cool, and like it's just a really good concept for a book. And there's so many different races that are in this folklore thing. There's even like a fucking Valkyra page. There's Valkyra. The goblins have their own little fairy tale. Like, what the fuck do the goblins pass down? Like, that one I think I'm gonna skip.
I thought
and read
they
next.
had no culture other than like money. It's like they existed. They found rocks, and then they were like, we got smart.
Maybe the boogeyman is like the tax man. It's like, oh, he's coming to take our gold away.
It's that one wrestler that's basically the Repo Man or whatever.
Their folklore is just libertarian. They're just libertarians talking about taxes. Joseph Biden's coming for our monies.
I don't
ramen
get
net.
why. I don't get why Gallywix needs my gold. He's got all the gold and coppers.
But yeah, highly recommend. I mean, the quality is amazing in this book, and it even has one of those really fun page markers. But you know how like the old timey mythological books had like that brown piece of fabric that you can drag down in the middle of your book. It has one of those, and it really fucking completes the look of this book.
Yeah, maybe we could do like a weekly mini DNR book club where we discuss one of the stories every week.
I mean, honestly,
Oh, fuck.
ooh,
I'd be
there's
down.
let's fucking do it. I'm not even kidding. Like this, because like my interpretation is so different than what you guys might have from the story. You know?
Does this book exist like in the world? Can I go to a bookstore, or do I have to order it from Blizzard.com?
It has to be in a bookstore. There's no way it's not in a bookstore.
I mean, I would be down. That sounds very fun.
I mean, I got mine from Amazon. Just order it from Amazon, or go support your local bookstore and look see if it's there. That's actually the better option, honestly.
You don't stand the Bezos.
No, and while you're there, I want you to go to your nearest clerk who has the input of the store and tell them that you demand a novelization of Clockstoppers because we need to have a Clockstoppers book club. No, but I want like a new one. I want a 2021 updated version.
That's fucking me up is at my familial home. I don't think we would have gotten rid of it. There is a novelization of 2003's Clockstoppers, and I feel like I am going home soon. I need to be like, Mom, Dad, just leave me be. I have to do my archival work downstairs.
So this is really funny that you mentioned this because I swear I also own this book. I can see the cover of it in my head, and I don't know why. Did I get this at a Scholastic Book Fair or something? Does that make sense?
Is the cover just like a white and greenish background with them standing in front of a portal?
It was, if I remember correctly, it was like a greenish and orangish, and it was girl and main Clockstopper man were like, whoa! And there's like sort of like a Salvador Dali clock fading in the background.
I'm sorry, I can buy this right now, and I'm adding it to my cart, my dude. Like, I'm buying it. It's on Amazon.
Whoa, that's 2 in a row. Slides over here, kissing the boots of Jeffrey Bezos.
There's no way that your local bookstore is gonna have the 2002 edition.
Know?
There's no way.
I'm calling up the Beverly Hills Books a Million right now. I'm gonna get it in my cart. I know Cynthia. I know she still works there. She's gonna put it on hold for me.
I legit did just buy it though. Like, I'm not kidding. It's coming. Maybe we can have a Clockstoppers book club at the end of the episode after the credits.
Well, speaking of putting things on hold, did you guys see that they basically announced, they being Blizzard, announced that we are not having a physical BlizzCon in this calendar year, or next, possibly. They basically said that we're getting another BlizzCon line type deal early 2022, and it will have some maybe small gatherings across the world.
That's interesting. I mean, I guess I want to plan ahead. I didn't realize it was going to be 2022 like last time, like at the beginning of the year. I think they will do a BlizzCon at the end of the year, though.
At the end of 2022?
Yes. I'm selfishly relieved because, I mean, now that music festivals are coming up again, I have been buying tickets to those, and I can save money from not going to BlizzCon physically this year. And to be fair, this wasn't going to be your big announcements, right? They kind of already said that, like, they're pushing off this stuff.
Yeah, and overall, it's just a good idea that it's just safest for everyone right now because, I mean, who knows? Things will probably be better by the end of the year, maybe, hopefully, but I still feel like it's better to be safe than sorry.
Mm-hmm. Oh, things will definitely be better by then. But from Blizzard's standpoint, I bet they don't have a lot to announce in the first place because we already discussed this, right? How I think that they're going to push back Shadowlands development. Have I said this yet on the podcast?
No, but it would make sense considering a lot of the bigger things that are also on the horizon.
So, like, we know, obviously, WoW is on a 2-year cycle. You get 2 years of an expansion, and then you get the new one. What if Shadowlands is going to be a 3-year cycle? Because COVID has fucked up so much of how they work. As we all know, we're all sitting here waiting for 9.1, right? I'm not going to lie to you. We're all waiting for it. So we're starved for content. And I could see them extending to an extra year of Shadowlands to just give more content that they wanted to give in the first place and give them more time to work on the next expansion, which would be the Sands of Time about, the Infinite Dragonflight coming back.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I could see this as well. I mean, because basically they pushed back the start of the expansion and it's been slow feeling. I mean, I'm not complaining. It's definitely all understandable. So I could see this happening. I think you might be onto something here. But either way, I don't think we're going to get another big announcement until end of 2022, whatever that BlizzCon will be.
Yeah, this is really just a, things are still going. We'll show close to completion Diablo stuff. We'll show 60-70% of the way Overwatch 2 stuff. But, nothing is dropping that day. Except for a new StarCraft 2 hero. Arcturus Ming, he's coming back.
Ooh, I do love Arcturus. Did you hear about Overwatch changes?
Yes, I heard about one Overwatch change, and then I shut it down, and I said, I'm never playing this game ever again.
I'm not sure how I feel. I mean, I think it'll be fine. Everybody said, people who weren't us said the same thing. They're cutting a tank out of Overwatch. I know this is unrelated completely, but I just think it's wild that they're going to completely change the team comp of Overwatch this late into its life, which I think is a good thing, right? They're looking at balancing, they're looking at stuff, but if it sucks, then it's a bad thing, right?
Also, in general, RIP tank mains, and
RIP
what does this mean for
tanks?
off tanks? Yeah.
Yeah, what is Roadhog gonna do? Just shoot him. No one's gonna be Roadhog, he's the guy who's gonna carry us to victory. He was essentially just a big DPS.
What if they just move Roadhog into DPS and take out
They should.
100 of his health? They make him weaker at tanking, obviously, and
hey
then
everyone,
he's good.
welcome to the Overwatch pocket. Yes, they should move him. They should move Hammond, if he even exists, to just DPS and Diva.
They could just tweak, I think Sigma. No, he has some shields. They can tweak a good chunk of their tanks to just make them less tankier, give them different abilities, and put them in a DPS category. And then we're good. We're fine, And people did the same thing when they were you can no longer stack the teams as 6 Torbjorns.
Yeah, you can't be 7 Bastions. I'm old enough to remember that day being this is the day the game died.
And then when roll queue came in, everyone said, this is going to kill the game, man. It's bad. And it was actually better. So, you know what I mean? I think this change might be good. We don't know what they're going to do completely, but it threw me for a fucking loop.
Yeah, no, same here. As the O Pocket's resident Overwatch expert. Yeah, I feel like we're naming this the O Pocket now.
Welcome to the O-Zone.
The O-Zone. Yeah, I don't know. The game will live on. If fucking TF2 still has a player base 20 years later, Overwatch will be fine. That's my opinion.
Well, if they're following TF2's example, we just got to get some hentai sprays in the game. Some racism. We just need a custom spray system that lets me just absolutely prove that I need to go touch some grass.
The custom sprays are dead, Aaron. They killed them. They're dead. It's so unfortunate.
Why are people hats? Who's playing Fort with hats anymore?
The best part of the game, my favorite thing as engineer, now we're in TF2 talk. As engineer, I had a level 2 sentry spray, and if you sprayed it on a wall and the enemy saw it from far away, they legitimately thought it was a real sentry, and they would shoot at it. And it was so good, and they killed that kind of recently. Stupid.
Anyways, our spirits are flying back into our bodies through Team Fortress, through Overwatch. We're back in the corpse that is World of Warcraft Shadowlands.
Hey, it's not a corpse. I'm still enjoying it, but
it's a corpse husband.
Ooh, deep voice. I guess we can talk a little bit about Raid, since we're probably going to be done with heroic raiding with the guild soon.
Yeah, Dorno.
I feel so bad.
Listen to this one. We're gonna have to figure some stuff out.
Yeah, I feel so bad, Adorno. So I was literally talking with him the morning of this guild decision. I was like, yeah, you can come and join us for raid. He just got his monk to max level and was like, yeah, he'd be interested in raiding. I was like, we literally carry like undergeared alts like through heroic all the time. We're just doing whatever we want on heroic right now. Like, I was like, yeah, just like message Lynn and join us sometime. And then literally later that day, as a guild, everyone's like, yeah, we're kind of done with raiding Nathria this expansion.
Because not only did we beat it, and then we beat it on heroic, and then we beat it on heroic with alts. Last night we beat it on heroic with some people's third or fourth alts all in one night.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely the first time we did that, so I guess I see what people mean. Anyways, now we're going to be doing various other things, maybe some achievement runs. I don't know.
Honestly, the various other things to me is just like, I'm not logging on for raid. I'm going to go do other stuff because I don't care about a lot. We have most of that stuff. Like, we have a lot. We have so many of the recent guild meta achievements. And we did some of the other ones during BFA when we had a lull to begin with. So it's like, what do we have left to do? Like classic shit, like Burning Crusade raid shit. Like,
the only thing I'm missing of recent achievement runs is Nyalotha, and it's just a worm. I don't want that worm.
How'd you miss that one?
I missed one night because I was like, they're not going to do anything important. And then you guys did that. And then the other night we did achievements, but I was like, are we going to go back and do the first stuff? And we didn't.
Which is so weird because we always go back and do the stuff now. Like, I think we went back and did the fucking stuff for Shadowlands, right?
Also,
Yeah.
is it weird that, like, I would have almost preferred us just doing heroic weekly, like, at least a little longer? I have another alt or two I could, like, gear up from that.
I think that's the thing. Like, I also was a little surprised that we're stopping, but some people in the guild, they just don't do alts. Some people in the guild are just like, you know, one and done.
Which is absolutely wild to me because there are people who have been playing since like Wrath, and they're like, nope, I just play on Digiorno. Digiorno's my one character, and it's like, what? How have you been playing for a decade and all you have is Digiorno?
I want the name Digiorno so bad now. There's no way it's available on Prodmore, right?
Wait, so you're telling me that, like, they spend all this time on Digiorno, and, like, you know, that's not delivery?
Come on,
Yeah,
it's
Digiorno
Digiorno.
will never deliver for them. However, Red Baron...
But yeah, because I also was a little sad to hear this because I'm like, I want to get Alan up there. I want to get my mage up there. You know, I just want to get people geared. And
I literally was looking at Randleman earlier today and was like, it's your time, big boy. You gotta get some stuff and we're gonna bring you up. And apparently not.
I mean, we're just, you know, we're hitting that spot. And we're even having this with mythic grading. Like, Dogs with Jobs is basically done. Like, I'm calling it now heavy. I'm predicting the future. It's, I mean, like, I get it. Like, burnout is majorly a thing. And us three, some way, we don't get burned out. I don't know what the fuck we do. We're like, either we're really gross or we have some kind of bad superpower. Like,
Our superpower is being really gross and not getting burned out in World of Warcraft.
Just being fools and just being like, what's my 17th alt doing?
but so like, I'm pretty sure, I'm like 95% sure that Dogs with Jobs is finished mythic grading because half of them are really into Burning Crusade Classic, which is fair. And the other half of them, I would not say half, but some of them have just like disappeared and they're just like, we're done. And I'm like, I get it. There are a lot of games to play. I'm like, damn, where'd you go? Where'd they go? Where'd they go? And so like last week they were like, listen, guys, if people show up, we can do it. And I'm sitting here like, people aren't going to show up. I can tell you right now. People haven't showed up for the past couple of weeks.
If you put an at everyone in the Discord, like that's going to drive people away even more.
They're like, I'm not doing this shit. I'm out of here. So we'll see how that goes. But I mean, there's always with the groups. I actually did find another group the other week that we may be able to raid with. It's funny. I posted. I said, hey, if you need a feral druid and a holy priest, we're fat, we're geared, we know what we're doing. And then when we were raiding heroic, they posted at 9 p.m. while we were raiding. Anybody want to do heroic raiding? Need a DPS and a healer. And I was like, I see what you guys are doing. You guys are trying to. They're like not saying us to, but they're like, come on, we need help.
Maybe that they meant me on Growlina and Wigglestein.
Multi-boxing.
You know, Wigglestein, he's pulling a lot of numbers recently.
When's the last time you played on Wigglestein?
Ah, shit, like 2 months ago? Maybe 2.5, 3?
What are these numbers he's pulling?
Well, I didn't say they were high. They're like 11, 12.
Oh, okay, so they're just numbers. Okay.
They are numerical digits.
I hate you.
What? An eye level 100 guy who's literally the worst healer spec? He's gunning for you.
Okay, Digiorno is taken, unfortunately. Not surprised.
Well, speaking of numerical values, another thing that we've been clued in on this week is changes to how Keystone Master will be obtained in 9.1. And I'm just going to flat out say it. I don't like it.
So, Keystone Master, is that the 10 or the 15 one?
That is the 15's one that gets you your mount. So, first thing I don't like, I guess the mount that you get in Season 2 in the next patch is just a recolor of the elemental. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's a mount still, but like, okay.
Okay, so I don't remember how Keystone Master worked in previous expansions, BFA. Was it a recolor? Did it exist?
It did exist, I think, but I don't remember. I literally did not ever clear anything above like a 13 before this expansion, so...
I didn't know that it changed. You talked about seasons. I was like, oh no.
Yo,
I mean,
Aaron.
I guess I gotta get this done then. I didn't know that there were seasons to Mythic Pluses.
Oh,
yeah. So it's like a season is a raid tier, basically, more or less. It's the same with PvP as well. And okay, so previous to this, if you cleared a 15 in time on any of the dungeons, that's good enough. But in 9.1, they're also introducing a built-in like WoW Raider IO type deal, so that you get like a score for clearing certain levels of dungeons, right? They also said at some point that they're going to, measure things differently about like clearing things as like fortified or tyrannical, which at first when I heard that, I'm like, yeah, that's fair. Like basically now people only try to push really high things on the not tyrannical weeks because, those fat bosses are rough to push keys on. But I guess just today or yesterday, like basically they announced that in order to get Keystone Master in 9.1 in this next season that's coming up, you need to get 2,000 points accumulated like towards this. And basically what it breaks down to is you need to get 15s on every dungeon on tyrannical and fortified because they're scored differently and separately. And you need to get like basically 15s in like basically 8 dungeons, if you look at it that way, like tyrannical the other side and fortified the other side, and then all the way down for all of them.
I mean, okay, so this is coming from a guy who has a Plague Fall 0. I like that because then you have to bring your A game all the time instead of being like, well, I want to do some mythics this week. Too bad, everyone's out to lunch.
Immune, how do you feel?
I know, I'm not gonna lie, guys. I fucking hate it. I mean, they need to change something about the way that these work or something. But like, if people are already upset about having to like push on or do keys on these weeks that are tyrannical, now you're gonna tell them that they need to do like all of the dungeons on tyrannical for sure. Like, people are gonna be mad about this. And like in general, like it was hard enough for me to get 8 dungeons cleared on a combination of these two,
Yeah, the time investment to do all of these dungeons on both versions is a humongous time investment. And I see what they're going for because they want people to not skip tyrannical weeks, which I mean, I fucking skip tyrannical weeks, but I was trying to find a solution for it that wasn't this, and I don't know what they do. Do they make it half and half? You have to do half in tyrannical, half in fortified. But then obviously everybody would do sanguine depths on fortified, and everyone would do the other side on fortified, and they do the easy ones on tyrannical. It's a really hard mixed bag, and I think they need to lean into the point system more and figure out a system there.
So it's funny that you say that because you kind of can cheese it a little bit. So like 16s are worth more than 15s in their scoring system. So you could technically do a 16 Sangi fortified, and then a 14 Sangi tyrannical, and that evens out.
I mean, I guess a 14 tyrannical is easier, and like we did a 16. We did tyrannical 16, but we are hella geared by this point because we're at the end of a patch. I really don't know. It's gonna make those tyrannical weeks terrible because people will be leaving immediately because they want their 15 tyrannicals done. I don't know. It's just, I think this version though is garbage. The system is shit. It's gonna take you so long to get these done. And if you have a dedicated guild group, you're good. But our guild has stopped running keys altogether, or they only run keys with themselves, with the certain group of people. You know what I mean? So it's difficult.
I will say this week in general, our guild ran more keys than I feel like we've run since the first few weeks. So that was kind of nice, actually.
No, everybody wanted to run keys, and me, you, Pablo, Myth, and Misa, we crushed that 16 House of Atonement, which is the easiest dungeon. But it was on a tyrannical week.
Yeah. I mean, and I guess while we are talking about Mythic Plus, I will also say that another thing that we're kind of learning, I don't know if we've talked about this at all on this pod, but I guess, Prideful's going away in 9.1 because, we're getting a new seasonal affix, and it's going to be, it's like Sanctum of Domination themed, and they're basically saying that it's going to be anima power themed. They don't know everything about what it is, but basically you're going to be able to have some kind of anima powers during the dungeon.
I did find out the stuff about the mounts. We've actually only had one previous season with Keystone Master having a mount. Keystone Master's BFA seasons 1 through 3 were no mount, just an achievement, and season 4 was one of those fucking stupid worms as their achievement, which I don't know how we forgot this, but that's an eon ago. It was like,
also, okay, that is hilarious to me. I don't know why more people don't talk about this, but it's a meme that the lions get all their horses, but what the fuck about all these fucking worms? Can we talk about them for a second?
Worms were hot. People really thought they wanted them.
I don't think they did, though. I think even then we were like, why? Why are there so many worms?
I remember people, and maybe it's just because it was a secret hidden one, people were busting ass for the BFA worm, where you had to go and do a bunch of wild stuff. And then I guess, and maybe that's just because it was the first one. And then people were like, what a neat worm. And then all of a sudden we got 7 more worms, and it was like, no.
Put these worms away. But so the anima power affix for 9.1, I can't even think how that's gonna work. What do you collect anima, or what do you do?
I don't think we really know yet. I think there are certain ones you can unlock during the run, probably.
I've also been sitting on this for a while, and it's not WoW related, but this update came out literally a couple hours ago. About 3 hours ago, we have a DiGiorno update.
Oh boy.
No. What is this?
DiGiorno is making new pizza donuts called Digiornuts.
Okay, I'm sorry, but this kind of feels like it's verging on Mabim Bam Munch Squad levels here.
But I am beating them to the punch because this literally came out 5:40 p.m. And it's 8, so it's literally 2 and some change, 2 hours and some change. But also, a pizza donut is something I've never even considered in my lifetime. I don't think I'm that opposed to it, but it depends on how sweet the donut is, right?
Yeah, it's just pizza bagel with a different
my
chair
God,
that
you're
it sits on, right?
It's an adult pizza bagel.
Okay. At first, when I heard this, I was disgusted because I just thought I envisioned it as being a sweet donut
like a
cake
soft
part.
Krispy Kreme donut with
but then with cheese on top. No.
Wait, I'm back to being disgusted because I just realized it's DiGiorno. So I had to go to the frozen food section and heat up a pizza donut in my oven.
Yeah, I am baffled by this decision now.
What if the tagline was, it's not Dunkin' Donuts, it's DiGiorno? Woo!
As if Dunkin' Donuts is the peak of donuts or something.
Thank God it's not Krispy Kreme, it's DiGiorno. I'd be like, yeah, that's fair. I'm gonna go snack on a couple Krispy Kreme pizza donuts. Growl, take it away while I also go pee.
Well, hey, howdy, hey there, DN Army. Growlina's back on the scene with my new associate, Dizer. Diz, with TBC Classic on the horizon, it's time we reflect on a true hero of TBC lore, the Big Green Fellburger from BlizzConline. What are your thoughts on the Big Fellburger?
LOL, I guess it was cool. It was neat to hear about Burning Crusade during it.
No. Not the segment, Diz. The burger itself. Would you eat it?
Of course!
What if it had actual fell magic seeping out of it?
Like, in the patty?
In the burger, in the bun, in the special sauce. This thing is chock-a-block full of the green stuff.
Probably, yeah. It sounds like it'd be interesting. Certainly not the worst thing I've ever consumed.
And ain't that the truth, folks? Well, I'm gonna go fall asleep to the sounds of the Fell Reaver over a cooking tutorial. While I do that, enjoy the rest of the episode.
Boy, oh boy, that was a good bowel movement. But we're back to the program.
Adorno, if you're still here, I meant to say this during the raid section. So I don't know how we're going to be doing raiding, but if you want, we can we definitely could carry you through some mythics. It's smaller content. We have most of a team playing for this. We could get you some mythic keys, buddy.
Yeah.
I mean, you can heal literally anything.
I would be very much down.
Yeah, this is also beneficial for Aaron, who needs a +1 Plague Fall, so...
Yeah, if we do literally any Plague Fall, we're advancing my career now.
I mean, we can also get you, like, Keystone Conqueror, up to at least Keystone Conqueror, and probably, honestly, 9.1 is going to take forever. We could probably get you Keystone Master. We just get overgeared and crush it.
I mean, you too, Slide.
Yeah, I mean, but I know I can get it. I just don't want to do the fucking energy and trying to find pug groups because my guild doesn't want to fucking do keys with me. Immune.
You got one out of the way this week.
Yeah,
I did on my own.
I want to talk about bougie shit we saw on the interweb.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. And by that, we're talking spoilers, baby. 9.1 spoilers. Get out of here. Fuck yeah.
Go on, keep on digging.
When I was in the middle of saying that, I was thinking of, have you guys seen the one TikToks of that guy who's just always drinking White Claws, and then he's always talking about what he's eating, and then just saying fuck yeah and what day of the week it is?
I can't say that I have.
Fuck yeah, shrimp scampi, fuck yeah, it's Monday, fuck yeah, White Claw. That guy? Yeah, I know him.
Yeah, that guy. Anyways, besides the point. We got several cutscenes this week. We referenced them earlier in the podcast a little bit, but yeah, they're pretty like story driven about like what we're going to see in 9.1. And I know Slide is excited about this, but one of the first ones that we got, I think this is probably going to be given to us at the beginning of 9.1. It is another Jedi Council style cutscene, in-game cutscene that is.
Okay, so I'll say once again, I woke up from my nap coma, and it means like, watch these cutscenes before the podcast. And I'm like, okay. And I'm half asleep watching this fucking cutscene. And I pause it and I turn to him and I said, but what about the Wookiees?
What about the Wookiees, though? They all died in our Christmas special episode 4?
No, only one died and it was Lumpy. The rest of the Wookiees live on Kashyyyk, or if you're a true fan, Kazook. These cutscenes are very interesting. All three of them, honestly. So are we starting with the Jedi Council one?
Yes, which, by the way, they made Renathal and Draka, I feel like, unless it was camera angles, a similar size to the Winter Queen and the Archon, which gets a boo kazoo from me because I used to love how teeny tiny Renathal's little person was.
Listen, as we previously stated, these are all subject to change. You saw the big X. I hope that they give us little tiny baby Renathal back.
They're going to take him like it's Microsoft Word, and they're going to go...
I should clarify. When we say Jedi Council cutscene, it's the 4 quote-unquote leaders of their covenants being in one room with the Arbiter, and they're being projected through. So it's like a blue hologram of them, in case you're not a big Star Wars head like me.
But yeah, one thing that was interesting in this cutscene to me was that it was basically they were discussing the jailer about this was, I think this is the first time that we've seen anything where they're addressing the fact that the Archon was fucking stabbed by Anduin and she's hurting. Like she is alive. They asked if she was okay, and she's basically just like, this little thing, it's whatever. I'll heal, but I lost my sigil, baby.
The hole in my chest is nothing compared to the hole in my sigil keep, which is empty.
I love that because straight up, she looked like she fucking died. She looked deceased as fuck, and she's like, "Oh, it's nothing." I'm like, "Bitch, I saw your eyes from the back of your head. Like you were dead on sight."
I mean, you can tell she's struggling though. In her hologram, she's like hunched over and like holding her side, and I'm like, "Girl, we've all been in these Zoom meetings for work. We all know that we can be pantsless like I am right now on this show for a professional work meeting, but you are still unable to fake it, like just for 10 seconds here."
She can't be pantsless. She's it's a full body hologram. They'd see her cooter.
I don't think she wears pants. This is just my aside. I don't think the Archon has pants on. I think her little blue cooter's out. But you know what? Enough about that gash. Let's talk about the gash that was in her chest.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. But yeah, speaking of that gash, not the other one, like she lost her sigil, and then the Winter Queen goes into this very heated discussion about what sigils are. She implies that all of the Eternal ones were given them. We don't know by who. It's kind of maybe implied that it's the first ones, like the ones who created this area and gave all of them their power. But we don't really know anything about them. That's just me like inferring.
The only thing I know about sigils, and it's really unfortunate, is I think we're shown multiple times it's just like a circular symbol, almost like it's a temple medallion from Ocarina of Time. That's really sad because I thought it was like things they had, like a necklace or a staff that like represent their sigils. But no, it's literally like, "You've wounded me. My magic circle is going to fly out now and you can put it in your bag."
I kind of do like this system only because sitting on my wall right here are the BlizzCon the Shadowlands Deluxe Edition.
You were like, "I want my merch in the game, please."
Well, yeah, I have my pin set of the Covenant symbols displayed on my wall, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, those are the sigils. And so, which obviously for me, who's only really had a Night Fae, I see that like that Night Fae Ardenwood symbol on my map, and I'm like, oh, that's my symbol for Ardenwood. And I'm like, oh, it's a symbol because it's the key. And they're all the keys. Not that we've seen like them use these sigils.
Yeah, but this cutscene also officially confirmed to us, which is something we like discussed and debated about on an earlier episode, that Denathrius Daddy D did in fact give his sigil to the jailer. Like that was what was said by Renathal.
He's a real fucking traitor out here. This fucking bitch.
And then, Draka chimed in and said that they still do not know the whereabouts of the Mildraxis sigil. So it appears that that's the one that the jailer is still looking for.
I really, really love this because it went from like, I am the Etheria Winter Queen. And then they went to, I am the magical voice of the Kyrian people. And then it's like, hey, I think the key's over here. And it's like, oh, that voice, like the voice comparison was just so weird.
Yeah, like they definitely, but I'd say both Renathal and Draka felt a little out of place here.
I mean, Draka will always, or not always, that's unfair, but like she just seems weird because everyone's like, oh, you figure Carestria, the Archon, and the Winter Queen, they're like, we're the OGs. And Renathal's like, I am a clone of the first one. And Draka's just some lady. She's like, I'm the person who decided to get on the holodeck today.
But what about the Wookiees?
What about the Wookiees, huh?
You could get Arcadia Moa tomorrow. I don't know. We just need someone on the holodeck. It doesn't say who.
They fucking put like Abomination on there 1 week, and they're just like, oh my god, who the fuck with this guy on here? Like he's like rambling about shit. Like
They're like, but he has a funny hat.
he's just farting.
Okay, shall we go into the next cutscene?
Okay, is it the one that I'm mad about? Is it the one that pissed me off?
Is it
So, the next one-
Anduin?
Yeah, the next one is an Anduin-themed cutscene in Ardenweald. And, like, this is also mind-blowing to us. Like, I shared this in our chat earlier before this recording, and both Aaron and I were like, did we know that this was happening? Because I don't think we did.
I'm sorry.
This is one that suffers from being an in progress because there's no background music, which I assume will be there to heighten the thing. It's just Jaina being like, Anduin! And he doesn't say anything, and she goes, come back to us. And then whoever is with her is like, he'll come back. And then he soundlessly walks away into a portal.
But and then it's not only that, it's like, can we not put an air tag on Anduin? How can you not detect these malevolent energies walking across the plains, taking shit? And not only does he take shit, he goes to my fucking Covenant Sanctum Hall, walks up to my tree of, oh god, what's it, my Heart of the Forest. Aaron, you probably don't know this, but the Heart of the Forest is upgraded, and it's been upgraded consistently over these past 6 months, where the Winter Queen comes down and she's like, I will infuse my power into the heart of the forest, and it changes how my sanctum looks. It makes that middle part, it's very Nightborn. It makes the middle part get bigger and more things glow off of it.
Is this based on the story?
Yes, yeah, it's based on the Covenant
I shot
campaign.
through that in a weekend, so probably I didn't appreciate its change. It's like, well, how beautiful is this champion? And I was just like, speed it up. We got like 20 more of these to do today.
Like, it took forever for that shit to get, like, maxed out. And he fucking strolls in, which, by the way, you guys have been in there. There's so many people standing around. Ysera's there. Chandris is there. My whole adventurer table is there. Corin is there.
Every single magical fairy is there.
And they just let him take it.
Sprinkle Tinkle. Every single one of them is just like, I mean, it's Anduin. What am I going to do?
Yeah, and like also fucking every single night warrior that's ever existed is there. But like, oh, okay, whatever.
The 2 gay deer.
Yeah, the 2 gay deer. And also, probably like what, 40% of the alliance are in there, and the horde. 40% of the classes are just like they're like
every single mage, every single druid, every single.
And they're just like, let him in. What's he doing? Let's see. Let's let it play out.
Okay, so like the thing is, we don't like know where this cutscene exactly fits in, but and like it obviously it's not built out yet, and there's a giant X through it, but like it. Like, you see Jaina and Bolvar, like, behind this, like, moss-worn barrier. They're, like, their hand on this really low-res barrier. And they're just like, Anduin! No! Stop!
What if somebody pulled the fire alarm and everybody had to evacuate the sanctum?
Sprinkle Tinkle was like, come on, guys, we practice this. Everyone go out that big knot.
We just had a fire drill last night. We know what we need to do.
Sweet Tooth is over there. Okay, everyone, do you have your accountability buddy? We're gonna count. 1, 2. Where's Jaina?
The Winter Queen literally lives upstairs. She's literally upstairs above the part that he sucks it out of. Like, this is nuts. Also,
okay, so the big thing about this cinematic is that the thing that Anduin sucks out of the heart of the forest is the sigil. It's like, is the Winter Queen powering it up by putting her sigil in there? I feel like that's very dangerous, girl. Like, what are you doing?
It is a very bold move when you're under Drust attack, but she also she's like, I didn't think anybody would pull the fire alarm. We haven't pulled that in a millennia. Like, I didn't think it even worked anymore.
It has been mossed over for millennia. The red fire alarm box.
She's like, honestly, that's on me. I stopped going to the fire drills because it's been so long since we actually had a fire.
LOL, laugh out loud.
Which you think would not be the case, because every fucking thing says fire mages need to live there.
But yeah, I mean, it's pretty big. He just casually gets his sigil. And I like that they did it in a way that wasn't just being like, I'm going to stab the Winter Queen now, and she'll live, and I'll take it. You know, it was a different way of doing it that I think is a little more unique. But again, it is a little bit goofy.
But we have one last big cutscene to discuss before the end of the show, and it is a Helya-themed one.
Hell yeah.
I loved / laughed the most at this one because of how short it felt and how awkward it was with no music. Which, again, it's in progress. So, like, you know, they're working on it. It's just really funny watching it.
So it seems like this is thrown in the middle of when the player character is questing in Korthia, maybe, and you are with Odin's Valkyr.
You are specifically with Danica Patrick from Sega All-Stars Racing. Shout out to my girl,
Patrick,
Danica.
Unlocked.
She supported me through my Brody Cafe chemistry test failure, and I will always have her back. I'm so glad she didn't die by the end of that cutscene, because I thought the same fucking thing aired. I'm like, Danica, my girl!
But sadly, all of Danica's friends perished. And when I say her friends, Danica is one of Odin's chosen Valkyr, who were sent into the Maw for a reason that we don't really know. And all of them but Danica died at the hands of Helya and the Mossworn.
I feel like they're always killing the fucking Valkyr, so at this point, they're fucking used to it. But it is interesting that it's like, it's Valkyr on Valkyr action. Like, Helya is supposed to be she is the prime Valkyr. She is Valkyr number 1. And for a Valkyr to, like, publicly turn against her, it feels big. Even though, obviously, they've been fighting for a while. We haven't really seen this, or have we? In Stormheim, the big lady, what's her name? Our girl, who's like, I'm not nervous, I'm excited.
Are you nervous, Herja?
No, just excited. Because did Herja have a direct interaction with Helya, or did they never actually, like, meet on screen for us?
Helya never manifested herself in the real world. She was just in Helheim, and then we went into her zone when we did the Maw of Souls.
That's so interesting.
But anyways, I feel like the most interesting part of this is at the end of the cinematic, Helya basically sucks the soul out of one of the dying Valkyr of Odin and puts it into one of the dead Sylvanas Valkyr and brings it back to life? ?
Just what Sylvanas apologists need. A reason for her to have more ways to fucking live.
But Blizzard was like, as they were casually writing the story, they're like, and a big rock will fall on her. And then they checked their how many lives does she have board, and they saw that was the last one. They're like, oh, fuck. And Ian's like, you just give her another one. We just got to scoot her past. Just enter in no clip and get her past this cutscene.
No clip. Just flying through it.
And like, the thing is, I wonder if this has to do with... So in the next raid, we face an encounter called the 9, which is us against the 9 Sylvanas Valkyr. And I'm like, all but 3 of them are dead at this point, right? I mean, guess maybe 4 after this resurrection are...
but 1. I thought she was on her literal last one.
I thought she was 2, but there's so many, like, Valkyr deaths that I've kind of lost track at this point.
I honestly stopped counting. I just read somewhere that it was 3, but like, that could be wrong, so whatever. I do not count this, so don't clock me on being wrong on this. But basically what I was going to say is, do you think that like the reason why we're able to face the 9, and they're like named as the 9 that have previously died for her, or the ones that we've seen associated with her. So in this encounter, are they actually her Valkyr that were like brought back to life through like Helya magic, or are they just weird illusions of the past ones?
I could see it being either, but because from the Shadowlands and things are dying and being reanimated, I could see them taking life essence and repowering up the collected corpses of her 9 Valkyr. Because you know Helya has a fucking way to escape death.
So she got her Valkyr around the same time that she canonically hung out with the jailer. So it makes sense for me if every time a light blue Valkyr died, they turned into a dark blue, more Mossworn one. So yeah, if she just runs out of all of her lives, then it'd be like, we are her 9 lives. And then it would make sense if you got rid of all 9 of them, that the end of the Sylvanas fight might be the end of her life.
What if instead she actually only had 2 Valkyr that were alive? And she was like, how can I complete the 9? And she's like, I know. The 7. Hate-rel, anger-rel, seed-rel.
She goes, I need a collection that are known for not dying. And then they're like, that's not us. we come at them one at a time and die really easy. And she goes, I'm pressed for time. Seethril, can you fly? No. Okay, you'll be one of the first ones.
She takes one look at Hate-rel and like, really? Hate-rel? That's your name? Never mind.
Mean-rel? You had decades to come up with your name and you came up with Mean-rel?
Dope-rel. I guess you can stay.
Can we also talk about the accent that Danica Patrick had? Now, the Valkyr do have these weird, what accent are their voices? They're like...
it's like Scandinavian, because they're supposed to be Vikings, so it's like... It's
vaguely
real
Norse, I guess.
Hinger-dinger. We're like, you can't stop us, hail ya.
Like, Danica's was like... Hers was weird, right? Was it just me?
Listen, there's a giant X through it. Assume that the X is through audio, too. This is the voice actress's first take. Don't worry about it.
What if they're waiting for, like, actual Danica Patrick to come into the studio and record these lines?
She's too busy. Sonic's announcing a new game in 2 days. By the time you're hearing this, it's already been announced. It's Sega All-Stars Racing 2 featuring Danica Patrick.
I would honestly love that. I'm not even kidding.
It was a very good racing game.
I love that racing game.
Anyways,
okay, so
things are wacky and silly in the world of the Shadowlands.
Well, I reckon it's about time to head into the end of the show. So I'm going to pull the top 2 bottom boot or medium moot of the week.
Ooh.
Aaron, do you want to start it off?
You know what? I think I will. And my top toot of the week is that on this last go-through on Castle Nathria, not only did we get a full clear on my girl Booty ATW, but she also got the chest piece that's like the coolest thing that's in the game right now.
That's fucking dope. I love that. They keep hyping our man up.
It's got like a neck protector thing. It's got fur around the collar. It just looks so cool. Fucking Ash has had it for like 5 months, and I'm always like, when is my time? And finally, it is my time.
Toot to that.
Slide, what is your TTBBMM?
I'm going to give my top 2 to that 16 in time. Our crew mysteriously got done in time. I say mysteriously, but like it wasn't mysterious. It was a nail biter, and it felt good.
It's the power of Pablo.
Yes, the power of Pablo compelled us. But it was also funny because, like, we cleared this just barely in time. It was like sub 1 minute left, and our tank Misal even had to leave the dungeon. He's like, oh, I gotta change a talent real fast. So
Yeah. He literally ran out of the dungeon for like 35 seconds, which is like that's a humongous chunk of time in a plus 16. But honestly, the power of Pablo, Windwalker Monk has crazy AoE. He was destroying packs.
I was gonna say I was there too, and I got like those Stoneborns down because I was the only Venthyr, so my DPS actually looked kind of decent that dungeon.
It just felt really, really good, and that because like the timer was so narrow, and we were all watching it like biting our nails, but nobody was saying anything. And after it finished, Myth was like, "Holy fuck!"
Yeah, that was some exciting shit.
What about you, Amin? TT, BB, MM.
Well, I got myself a top 2 this week as well. So triple toot. And okay, so This is just funny because like immediately after we named Rendell, the homie Rendell, our sexiest NPC last week, we got news that he is getting another cosmetic upgrade next patch. He's getting some sexy specs.
Yeah, boy.
Woohoo!
So I just want to give my top 2 in honor of the homie Rendell. Continuing his upward grind. He's just flexing on all of us at any given point, and I just love that shit.
He's a rich bitch, and he's not afraid to show it.
You know, we saw him get that gold, and now he's just flaunting it. He's spending it on some sexy shades.
He's got a lot to show off. All right, but with that, we are out of here. If you guys have any comments, questions, complaints, if you want to leave us a review, leave it on iTunes. You can leave it on Spotify. No, sorry. Give us a thumbs up on Spotify. Follow us. If you really want to, I guess you can leave it on Warcraft Radio. You can send us a Twitter tweet at Do Not Relent Pod, or you can send us an email at donotRelentPod@gmail.com. What about you guys? Where can I find you on the internet?
You can find me, Alex or Immunization, on Twitter at New Era Alex. You can follow our podcast Instagram account on the gram at Do Not Relent. You can follow me on Twitch at Immunization DNR, where I stream on Monday nights, Friday nights, and Sunday afternoons.
You can find me, Aaron the Human, at the Bigacheesy on Twitter.com. You can read our literary musings at donotrelent.livejournal.com. By the way, shout out to Adorno. He told me that he was actively reading them, and I was like, wow. Sometimes even I don't actively read them as I write them.
I was going to say, like, I feel like maybe like once every 3 months I go on and like, yeah, thumbs up.
You'd be like, yeah, he's still doing it, I guess. But you can also find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/AaronDNR. By the time you're hearing this, maybe there will be a treat for you.
Fuck, I forgot. I wanted to do this a lot earlier, but you guys gotta watch Bricko stream on Twitch. I love watching his streams. It's so funny. He's drunk. I'm drunk. I mean, I'm not on the stream, but I'm in the chat drunk. It's Bricko with 2 C's, BRICCOTTF. His streams are so fun, and he's so fucking nice. He loves when anybody comes in and says anything. He's so accommodating. He streams classic for the most part. Actually, for the all part, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I was hanging out in his stream too. I mean, yeah, I barely ever play classic, but it was a fun time.
It's been great. And remember...
Another down! Do not relent!
Do Not Relent is a podcast within the 3HNC network, representing U.S. Proudmoore's premier podcasts.
That was a very good wish.